This is one of my concertina sketchbooks. If you don't know what they are, they're very cool because they open up like an accordion. Very cool stuff. This one I've done a lot of work in. It's where I do a lot of my experimenting, and sometimes it gives me ideas to work on another project. So I went to my favorite brewery actually and did some artwork. So I had my water-soluble pencils, and I had some very simple watercolor set. And this is what's called blind contour drawing, where you don't look at your paper, you don't take your pencil off the paper, and you just continually follow along the lines of what you see. So the idea is to have your hand and your eye, your pencil, move at the same distance that your eye is traveling. It's really a good way to get yourself familiar with a subject when you're not really familiar with it, because you have to look at every single little detail. And the more you do these, the more realistic they look. This was just this floral collage thing that I did. And then, again, another session. I was just doodling with my pen because it was very, very dark at the day that I was there at Rebecca. And so I was blind contour drawing my little glass of beer. And I was also working on doing a little bit of blind contour drawing of my Einstein. So they always come out really, really quirky. You're never really sure what you're going to get or how they're going to look. So it makes it quite challenging sometimes. Oh, and this is the one I was working with on this one. Just following along, keeping my pencil on the paper, following along, looking at this, not at this. It's really kind of a lot of fun. You should try it sometime. So then I got bored with that, and I was just kind of scribbling, seeing what was going to happen. Like I said, a lot of times I just do experiments in these books. And then I brought out my pen, and I was just playing around with these nature shapes, because I'm working on a series of painting all about nature. And so I did these without pretty much hardly ever taking my pen off the paper. And I really kind of liked what happened here, and I'm thinking that maybe I might want to put some color behind this. And I thought what I would do is to take that and put it onto canvas and see what it looks like. The worst that can happen is you paint over it, right? So I'm going to get my fancy dancy fat Sharpies out, and we're going to give it a try. I'll be right back as I open things and get set up. So I'm back. I've got my 3 canvases that I'm going to be working on, and this is my inspiration. So we're going to see what happens and how this comes out. I'm wondering if I want to do these like they're all one piece, or do I want to do each one separately? I don't know. We'll see what's going to go on. Hopefully my Sharpies haven't run out. I'm not sure that Sharpies are going to be the water soluble, so we'll see what happens when I try to put some color over this. Alright, so, got to start somewhere. I'm going to start with trying to emulate what I did here. And I like the fact that they were connected. So that's what I'm going to try to attempt here. And I really like making my petals kind of quirky, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm okay with that. We have to have a few little, roots. So we'll do that. I'll come over here and I'll add another. See how that comes out. Like I said, they never quite come out exactly like my reference piece, but it's kind of fun to just see what's going to happen. So now that I have these two on here, I think I want something a little different. So because this is going to be on one canvas, I'm thinking that maybe I want to switch to adding this instead of just going on with the same thing I have. So that's what I'm going to do on this one, and so we'll see how this goes, and maybe it's just going to be the fence posts. I like how quirky these drawings look. They kind of have their own little personality. It's kind of hard to draw and talk at the same time, so when I stop talking, that's because I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. Okay, so now I have 2 and 2. I'm not real happy about that, so I need to add another element to give this a little more interest. So I see that the Sharpie's bleeding a little bit, so we're going to see. Maybe I will create one of those little furry things I had here. I kind of like that. Alright, so then I'm going to move on to this next one. Now let's give this a little bit of ground here. Give this one a little bit of pizzazz with its thorns and such. Again, give it some roots. I like to kind of give him a little bit of difference. Give this guy some thorns. Maybe a nice, long, skinny. We don't want them to all be the same, right? Maybe there's weeds around this, something, I don't know. And get myself another one of those little daisy shapes. Filling up the space here. Okay. So, I kind of wonder what's going to happen when I put paint on here. I'm not really sure. So I'm wondering if I should spray it first. I don't want these to be real defined. So it's going to be very unusual. I'm not going to like paint in the individual flowers. I don't think. So we're going to see what's going to happen. So I'll be right back. Don't go away while I get my paints out. I got some colors out here and I did a little test and I found out that my Sharpie doesn't bleed with water, so I'm hoping it doesn't bleed with just the paint as well. So before I actually put these on the painting, I like to kind of see what these colors are going to do when I mix them and how they're going to show up. These are all golden fluids. Some of these are pretty, they might not want to work as well as I would like. Okay, so I have to put a little bit of this out this way. This is called quinacridone violet, which is very pretty. Transparent red iron oxide. Nickel azure yellow, which is kind of like a yellow ochre is what it looks like to me. Okay, that's not going to want to come out either. I guess I do need to clean these once in a while, eh? But, oh yeah, there's a great big goober right there. See if I like this, then I'll clean it. And then I found way tucked back in the corner this golden interference green blue. I don't know if you can see, but when you, it kind of goes from green to blue here, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And so I just want to do like that. It's that yellow. Here's the violet oxide. This is the red iron oxide. And oh, that's actually quite a nice color. A little bit richer than the yellow ochre, I think. So, and because I want to do washes of color, I want to see what these are going to look like when I water them down. That almost just goes away. That turns kind of brown. Gets to be a nice purple, and because purple and yellow are complementary colors, that's why I was thinking these colors might work pretty well together. Because you know, right now it's January here in Michigan and it's about 10 degrees outside, and I'm longing for the spring already. So this is usually the time of the year I end up painting flowers, because it's just, you know, so dismal here. Okay, well, let's see. That even, oh, it's very subtle. It could be kind of cool, huh? I don't really know that you can see that. Probably not going to show up very well on camera. Okay, so now I have this, and now I want to see how these colors are going to kind of mix together. So what happens if I put this with that? Oh, we're getting green. Interesting. That's really interesting. I didn't expect that to happen. So if I take this and mix a little bit of that. Which one was that? No, that was this one. I think it's a little too brown. What's more red? Let's see what happens when I mix it with this orange. kind of takes it to that same. Not much different there, mixing those two. What happens if I mix this and this? Oh, that makes it pretty interesting. Oops. But if I put that with it, goes back to that brown. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let me get set up here and I will be right back, so don't go away. Okay, I've got my pieces back. So I get this a little bit brighter for you. If I turn on my overhead light. Is that better? Oh, that's better. You can kind of see a little more now what I'm doing, right? Let me straighten out my camera. Okay. Well, we made some nice browns with these mixes. So I'm thinking I'm going to kind of slap some of that around my these guys. So do I want my spray bottle? I don't know, do I want a bigger brush than this? This one seems kind of small. I want this to be nice and loose, so I'm going to use this guy. It's a Richardson Kolinsky, which I really shouldn't be using with acrylics, but I love it. So I got it wet. I'll take some of this brown. I'm just mixing over here on my palette. Just want to kind of give this a little bit of interest. With my paper towel, which is going to give it an interesting texture. Have some over here. Not using much paint at all, my friends. And I like the fact that it's getting some texture. Let's see. Mix these two together, I get a little bit brighter. Oh yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm not interested in making sure everything is neat and tidy. I want this to be more a little more organic and free-flowing. So a little bit of that purple in there, like I get a little bit more brown. It might be too dark. Let's see. I like the texture the paper towel is leaving in there because I don't want it to be one thing. I like that little bit of purple in there when you get it nice and light. I'm just being really loose and free with this. I don't want to have this get too predictable. I don't want it to be predictable. I like that light purple with this. Okay, let's have some of this nice bright yellow up here. Oh! That's when you have a big brush, then you get into both colors of paint at the same time. Really didn't want to do that. Okay, we'll put some over here. All right. I'm liking all the negative space this is giving me. It's kind of cool. It's one of the things I discovered in my sketchbook is that I love having white space around my subject matter. So it's been kind of fun to, explore that a little bit. And I just want to kind of spread this color around everywhere. And maybe now I need a little bit smaller brush. I don't know. Let's see. We'll try this one and see what happens. I want to give it a little bit of this. Just to kind of change up the colors a little bit. Give it a little bit of dimension. We'll see how this goes. Just to give that illusion of something there. I don't know what it is. Weeds, we don't know. I am liking these colors together though, I will say that. And we made a green out of that. What did we use? Was that this yellow and the purple? I think it was. Oops, not that much. Yeah, that was from the purple and the that bright yellow together, which is quite pretty. Who'd have thunk you'd have got a green from that? I sure didn't. And if you've stuck with me this far, thank you for one thing. And it would really benefit me if you would like and subscribe to my channel. And if you really were feeling like, you wanted to help me out even more, you could do a share, which makes YouTube really like me. And then I get to reach more people, which is always a wonderful thing. I really don't want to introduce another color in here to make green, so I'm going with this. And I'm thinking there's a lot of potential for collage in here. So we'll see what happens. When these dry, if I decide to go with some collage. Not really liking how those look. This one looks pretty sad over here. There's not much going on, so maybe we should get some of that pretty violet up there. Needs a bigger brush. Oh, it's a little interesting. The thing about this is if I really don't like this, I can just paint over this and start all over again. Who knows? I'm really liking all the open space I got here. Oops, a little hair right there. Come on. There we go. So I'm wondering, when did I get out my trusty water-soluble crayons. So let's see, what colors might I want in here? I got kind of a lot of warm color. I'm wondering if we want to introduce a little bit of a different color. And because these are water soluble, if I don't like that, I can kind of just take it right off, which is kind of cool. So I don't think I'd like that particular color. I don't know where that came from. Did that come from here? I don't know. I really like this periwinkle blue. What about this? Now we need a little shadow color. And you can also dip these in water and then do your thing. Sort of liking how that's looking with the yellow. And of course, you get the added benefit of getting that all over your hands. So, do I have a nice green? We should use this. What about this bright green here? Ooh. That's pretty cool. I got a little puddle of water over here that I'm dipping it in. Have a little more control when that happens. It's kind of giving it a nice little highlight, which I like. I'm really thinking this could benefit from some collage. I'm really kind of liking the, I'm going to call this the painterly quality of this. Because nothing's getting too overdone. What do I need? Maybe a little bit of orange. What's the other color here? Maybe this bright orange. Ooh, look at that. Gives this a little more pizzazz. Kind of liking that. Ooh, lovely. I'm just spreading this around, this color around to the different pieces so that they all have a little bit of this luscious color. It's quite glorious. I keep dipping it in my little puddle of water over there. Well, that's kind of cool. I think I need to let this dry before I do any more, so we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm going to stop here for the time being, and we'll see what happens. I did add a little bit of that interference blue in the sky. I'm not sure that you can see that, but it adds a little bit of sparkle. And I think each of these are kind of cool on their own, but they definitely work together as a trio. Wouldn't these just be glorious? Hanging up in your hallway, and it's a nice thick canvas, so they don't need to be framed. And I'm pretty happy with how these look right now, so I'm going to stop and then we'll see what happens when I decide to come back. So stay tuned for part 2.